Hey everyone, welcome back. Gonna get started with tutorials again. This time I'm gonna go over a really simple ask from someone. I actually can't remember who, so if it is you, let me know. I'll put your name in the video description. They wanted to know how to make a sound when you clicked on an object, and they wanted it to be not a button, so like none of the button objects. So we can get started with that. Firstly, a quick apology for the lack of updates recently. I've been waiting for the lasers to stabilize a bit. The team's been doing a great job, and they are so much better than they were on the first release, so it's great to see the progress made there. Keep it up. Well, let's get started. So I'm going to hop into Smooth POV, and it's going to be a little bit of a meme tutorial, and the reason behind that is memes are cool. So we have a hamburger here, and when we click on the hamburger, we're going to make it play this sound right here. And that's a meme from sort of Avengers Endgame era, but I still find it funny. So let's get started. I'm going to need an inspector tooltip. Not inspector tooltip, sorry, dev tooltip. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And I'll need a logics tooltip as well. There we go. Shove those on my wrist. There we go. Now I'm going to inspect the hamburger. And this is where we have to talk about the various ways that you can do touch-based events. There's a ton of components here. I might do a video on each individual component, but today we're going to be using the simplest one, which is touchable data. So I'm going to go to the root of the hamburger, and I'm going to go to attach component, transform, interaction, touchable data here. And once I've done that, you'll now see that if I deselect the hamburger, that it's now touchable. Like it responds to touch events. You'll see the laser is changing color and that the component is already working. So let's take a look at touchable data. This isn't a tutorial on the touchable data, so I'm just going to skim over the things that we need. When I put my cursor on it and I click with the trigger, you'll see that the touching boolean goes to true. With a little check mark there. So we're going to hook that up to the sound effect that we've got here. So with my logics tooltip, I'm going to go ahead and grab touchable data and pull it out and secondary, and I'll get touchable data in the world here. Then I'm going to open up the node browser here, and I'm going to find flow, and we're going to go for fire on true. And we're going to plug touching into fire on true. Now fire on true will output an impulse every single time someone touches it. Fire on true has a secondary input, which is only for user. That does default to a value. I, to be honest, always forget what value it defaults to. I think it's the host user, maybe. I'm not sure. I always be explicit with my intentions for the host user, for fire on true, and I plug in host user or local user or something like that. I'll cover that more in a video where I talk about sort of impulse ownership and impulse synchronization. There's a good video by Anonymous, which is getting quite old because it's before all the UI updates, but I'll still link it below because it's a good sort of overview of that topic whilst I'm waiting to make mine, which should talk about this. But for now, just understand that when you plug a user into here, it means that this impulse only fires on that user's systems, that user's execution. So we're going to use the host user there. Next along from that, we're going to go ahead to audio. I'm going to grab audio. Actually, let's do play one shot first. So play one shot. I'm going to leave that in the world. I'm going to go back. Actually, no, it's in there as well. Audio clip input. And we'll put that there. And then I think we're done with the node menu, so I'll close that. So play one shot is a very simple node that's designed to play a sound. It's not usually ideal for persistent sounds. It's more for like intermediate sound effects that occur when an action happens, etc. If you're doing sort of a fire crackling, some background kind of wind or something, don't use this. Use other methods, like just the audio orb floating in the world would be better than that. But for this case, it's fine, especially since it's just an example. So the top input of play one shot is what will cause the one shot to fire, so we don't need that display anymore. The second input is the audio clip that we want to hook up. So we're going to hook up this audio input. And now you'll see that the audio clip says null here. To make that into an actual sound effect, we just have to take our sound with one hand and put it through the audio clip input and then let go. And you'll see that that is filled into audio clip holder assets, it says. If I'd named the slot that audio clip is on, it would maybe name something better, but that's fine. We can actually test this as well if we pull out a display node, an input node, and we hit pulse.
Hamburger.
see that we get the hamburger sound effect as desired. But you'll also see that it happened from here, as it happened from this exact node's position. If you want it to happen somewhere else, the easiest way to do that is to just specify this slot input here that's the root. This is where the sound effect will play. So I'm going to grab hamburger here, put a secondary, that makes a slot interface, and we'll plug it into slot.
Hamburger.
And now the sound comes out from over there. If I go ahead and click this now,
Hamburger. Hamburger.
we get hamburger. There we go. The next remaining thing we need to do is just pack that logic. So I'm going to go to the top of hamburger here, hit the star icon, which makes a child object. You'll see hamburger child here. And I'm going to rename that to logics here. When doing this, I've changed recently my tactic here. Neos will insert the name of the parent here and then a dash and the word child. Instead of deleting all of that and naming it just logics, I just delete the word child and leave it to that, because that's a lot easier to read, and it also means I don't get confused when I'm working on multiple objects, because it quite clearly says that I'm playing with the hamburger logics right now. And then I can just hold secondary, that will pack, and there you go. Some of that didn't make sense. It may be that you're new to logics, so please check out a beginning guide to logics made by Business Lawyer. I'll link that in the video description as well. With that done, we can now go ahead and close the inspector, and we've got a hamburger.
Hamburger.
And there you go. That's all there is to it. I will see you next time. I know it was a quick basic one, but it was a specific request someone had and also a chance to show off a meme that I quite like. So there we go. I'll see you next time.